I think that looks okay. I'm gonna turn my monitor off because it's really fucking distracting and it's hard to record this video. Oh my god, hi. It has been a while. It has been a while since I made a video, for one, but it's also been a while since I've been on camera. And this is what I look like now. I guess this is a formal coming out video as well. Jeez, I did not really think about that. But I'm trans, and this is what I look like. And so that's part of the reason why I've not put out a video lately. Another big reason is not necessarily lack of motivation. There's been a lot of things that I've wanted to make a video on, but I find myself being drawn to... It's hard for me to put a lot of trust in myself to make a good video, if that makes sense. I feel like I tried to set the bar of quality really, really high, unachievably high for what I want to do, which is talk about media, right? And that comes from a lot of factors. That comes from overachieving, wanting to make something really, really good that, you know, has a slightly bigger scope. And so I get a lot of scope creep when it comes to my videos. And it makes it really hard to make them. So I decided, all of this was to say that I decided to make a little unscripted, rambly, kind of a mess of a video. Yes, I do have the worst setup going possible. You could not tell. Also, if there's a lot of noise in the background, there's literally nothing I can do about that. I live by trains, but usually there's like no trains. But there's been like 5 since I tried trying to record this, and it's been so annoying. Anyway, I guess what I wanted to talk about here, making this... Do I have makeup on my teeth? Making this like unscripted, rambly video is I really wanted to talk about Persona 3. I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. Fuck, what a game. What a fucking game. Wow, I get it now, right? It is not my first Persona game by a long shot. My first one was Persona 5 on the PS3. God damn, I'm old. And I didn't get very far in that game. I always loved it though. I love the style. I think it looks beautiful. It's a stunning game. It really, really is. And it's super tight with the mechanics and the combat. And I was always really, really impressed by it, and I always heard fantastic things, specifically about Persona 4, which I own. I have it on Steam, but I maybe put like 4 hours into it, and it just, for whatever reason, probably ADHD, mostly ADHD, let's be honest, I did not, it just did not click with me. But Persona 3 has really clicked with me, and I've finished it almost. I'm almost done with it. I've done most of the social links. Look, let's just say Persona 3 lets you live out your polyamorous fantasies. But only if you get max social link with a bunch of girls. I think the biggest problem I have with this game is that they did not let you play as a female protagonist from Persona 3 Portable. If they let you do that and romance all the girls, It's not like Persona 5 where they do like a Witcher 3 cutscene where you get caught by like all of the girls and they all hate you, you know? There's basically no ramifications. And I also just wanted to see all of the stories, and that's really what I want to talk about. I think Persona 3, and I'm excited to play Persona 4 after this, because I hear even better things about Persona 4. I hear it has some really bad transphobic stuff, but, you know, it's Japan. There's lipstick all over this mug. I am in love with the characters in that game. I think the way that that game makes you feel like you were building a team is like the most interesting thing I've played in a game in a long time, right? Because you feel so dysfunctional for most of that game. It is not a love fest, right? It's not hanging out with your bros most of the time, right? Some of your friends are just outright hostile and like adversaries with each other. They don't really like each other, you know? And I didn't like some of them. I hated Junpei, right? Junpei is the definition of like every dude bro character, like frat bro character, just like condensed into one guy. And he sucks. Man, he sucks. He's horrible. But he changes, right? He grows. He makes meaningful connections, and meaningful connections that are completely outside of your realm of interaction as the player, right? And the fact that we get to see that and watch as it's like nurtured, and he learns what it's like to be there for someone, right, other than himself. He grows and he becomes a really lovely character, right? And that, it's like that, but for every single character in this game. All of your girl teammates, right, are just, they have the most interesting, there's a lot of father complexes in this game, and not in a weird way, but of like women who have been defined by the mistakes of their fathers and by the past generational childhood trauma that they've experienced, right? And trauma in general, right? Huge in this game. I mean, trigger warning for discussions of suicide, and I'll probably put it up in text at the beginning of this, because it is a game that handles that shockingly well, right? It talks about self-harm. It talks about depression, feelings of worthlessness, and lack of identity. By the end of the game, your characters, it's like an outright rejection of nihilism and the want to give up, and especially in the face of death, right? The game is really in conversation with how people respond to knowing that they are going to die, right? Especially around the ending. And your characters have not accepted that laying down, right? They come to the conclusion, ultimately, after a lot of hardship, that, look, we're gonna go down fighting, right? And there's something so touching and profound about that, especially because you have lived with these characters. Like, Persona 3, like, Persona as a franchise, it all runs on, like, a day-to-day schedule. And so you're in high school, right? So there's a lot of going to school, doing clubs and things like that, right? Which is cool. It's a really fun aspect. It's where you get those social links where you make relationships with these characters and become more intimate. Most of them are at school, which I think is also a really great thing, right? It says outwardly, like, you should make connections with people. You should put yourself out there. In fact, your connections with the people that you meet on a day-to-day basis, getting to know them, learning about them, talking to them, going out with them, dating them, all of these people shape who you are and ultimately can save you and themselves, right? A lot of people look up to your character, right? But they don't do it in a way that is like, you're the best, if that makes sense, right? It's not about fulfilling like a need necessarily. There is some. It's not like wish fulfillment. That's what I was trying to say. There are some that are definitely more wish fulfillment than others, specifically with dating, some of the girls, right? Like, they're obviously not all entirely realistic. It is, leaning on the side of anime. But essentially what I'm trying to get around to is what the game has to say about your connections that you make, right? Being genuine with them, talking to them, doing this every day. It will ultimately save the world, right? It makes you more powerful in battle, right? So you get stronger for the extended gameplay segments, right? The combat, things like that, right? It allows you to do more, right? You don't obtain a lot by just shotgunning through the main story, right? Most of the contents of the game, and in fact, most of the progress that you make in the game is behind these social links, right? And it's such a genius thing. It is just so fascinating to think about. I really, really love it, and I'm really excited to see what Persona 4 does with this, because I am totally jumping into that game. Honestly, I'm so moved by the characters in this game, specifically like Yukari, Aegis, Junpei, right? Junpei, it is such an evolution of this character, right? Because he's so annoying. He's not good. I hate him. He's really annoying. But you start to learn about him, right? And again, ultimately, it's his connections that drive him forward, that motivate him, right? I'd be amiss to not talk about Shinji as well, right? That whole plot, right? And what's great is, right, because you're spending every day, in-game day, it's not like real time or anything like that, but you're spending every day with these characters, right? So when they go through something traumatic, you go through something traumatic with them, right? And it affects your entire group, your friend group, your activities, right? It affects whether or not you go to school the next day, right? People die in this game, and the characters have to process that realistically, and it's so well done, and I find it so absorbing and touching in a way that I haven't found a piece of media in a very long time. I mean, enough for me to want to come back to making a video, right? And it is this weird, rambly, I'm not good at this, you know, maybe I'll get better at it. Maybe I'll have notes next time. I don't know. But I love it. I'm really, really moved by it. Let's see, is there anything else that I should talk about? I mean, I'd be amiss while I was talking about media that touched me deeply and that has, in a way, kind of fundamentally changed my life, to not talk about One Piece, at least a little bit. And this will probably get its own video. No, not probably, it will. It will get its own video. There's so much to say about One Piece and so much that has been said about One Piece. It's one of the biggest franchises in the world, right? But I think there's so much more there. It is such a beautifully dense, for one, as a piece of fiction, right? It might be one of the greatest stories ever told in a wide sense, right? And I'll get into that in its own video. Let's not hijack this video too much. But yeah, I don't really know if there's anything more I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I wanted to talk about Persona 3, and I've pretty much talked about Persona 3. Go play it. It's really fantastic. It's hard to describe because there is so much, right? And there's much more detailed videos that you could watch discussing the ins and outs of the social links and mechanics and things like that. And I highly recommend all of them. But anyway, yeah, for those of you who stuck around, thank you. It's been Catherine, and I'll see you in the next one.